Hello, everybody out there. I hope everybody is still all right and nobody got a heart attack with this bloody crypto Wednesday, what we have today. I'm kind of alone today, so Abid is a bit sick, so he will come back to the next stream. And what we have today for you is Günter, the accountant, who made the Hex audit, or like the newest Hex audit, showing us where all those Hex are at, like in which addresses. And yeah, without further ado, let's welcome Günter. Hello, Günter. How are you doing?
Not bad. How are you, Patrick?
Günter, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
No, now you're here. Sorry.
Okay,
I
yeah.
guess
Sorry.
audio is just. Yeah, so welcome to the stream. First of all, before we start with your awesome work, I would like to ask you the same three questions as we ask everybody. So the first one would be, when did you heard about crypto, and when did you start it in the crypto market?
Yeah, sure. So I got into crypto around 2016, 2017 area. Had no clue what I was doing as a newbie. And then just been in it ever since. And I'm also a day one Hexican.
So when did you found about Hex already, like mid 19, or towards near the launch started, or how was it for you?
Yeah, I didn't hear about Hex until like a couple days before it launched. And I did a lot of research in a very short period of time, and I knew instantly. Yeah, I knew instantly that Hex was like a perfect solution for what I was looking for. Because
yeah, so how did you made your decision making? Because as you said, you got in pretty early into crypto. You experienced like the whole bear market of after 2017. So in whole 2018, like then this pump and dump of 2019, which was like just because of a scam in the a Bitcoin scam from Asia. And how did you decided, yes, now I will put my money into a new coin?
Well, I guess I like the fact that with Hex you could take your tokens and stake it and earn interest. For me, that was like huge because I had never really had something like that, and especially something where you didn't have to rely on a third party or have any counterparty risk, and you have control of your private keys. For me, that was just like a major selling point. I was really intrigued by that.
Yeah, me too. So that comes to my last question of the introduction. What is your most liked feature of Hex?
Honestly, probably just the fact that it got me to stop trading. Like I don't have to worry about anything. Like you could just build like a nice, laddered CD over any period of time between a day and like 15.2 years. And you can personalize it to meet your own financial objectives. And you're earning like crazy interest from the T shares, especially if you got into Hex like in the early days. But even if you get in later, you're still earning like really insanely high yield that you wouldn't get anywhere else in the world. So if you think about it like a certificate of deposit, the best possible percentage that you can expect globally for a 5-year certificate of deposit is 2%. Well, with Hex, you can earn 13% APY in one day. I mean, and if you're staking long, you can earn 40%. And if you got into Hex early, you can earn as high as 68% APY. So you can't compete with those numbers anywhere in the world with any financial instrument.
Yeah, that's true. And I also pretty much like this lockup mechanism, this new form of staking. Yeah, not like the old form what we had, where you can stake and unstake whenever you want to. Here, you really need to think about, okay, what am I going to do with my money? You really have to think about your money, and you're really your own bank, and only you can decide like how much hex you want to put on out, how much time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's and it's crazy. You would think that we would run out of things to talk about with Hex, but actually, as you dig deeper into the rabbit hole,
Yes.
you start to understand all the subtle nuances and the fine design elements that make Hex literally the best crypto that you could possibly be in. And so I don't know, it's very, very exciting times.
So should we start talking a bit about your audit, what you have put together here?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
do
So
you have so let me pull it up. Can just let me know if you have trouble seeing it, I guess.
no, everything all right. I see
Okay.
it already. Looks pretty good.
Okay,
So
no.
first of all, like to don't overwhelm our audience with all those numbers, would you like to sum it up a bit, like what you have done here?
Yeah, sure. So if you go to this, by the way, this is publicly available. If you go into any of the Hex chats, you can, find a copy of the spreadsheet and download it for yourself and verify any of this information. But I essentially started. If you start with this tab, the OA, which stands for the origin address, I essentially started with these all the addresses. Well, I guess we should probably tell people that the origin address is the controlling entity for Hex. It is this single address, but it really, if you think it, whenever Hexicans talk about origin address, we're really just talking about the controlling entity of Hex. It's centralized ownership. But what I first did was look at all the addresses that the OA transferred money to. You can see them all down this list. And these are pretty fat wallets. If you look at any of these wallets, you're talking
Yeah.
about 1.3 billion tokens, like in a lot of those
Yeah, I
wallets.
mean, what I remember initially, it was like a bit less than 1 billion, and all those addresses just staked over a few days during the big payday during mid-November last year, and therefore increased to like 1.3 billion.
Yeah, and actually those are separate addresses. So first, these are the addresses under this column are first all the addresses that the OA sent money to, and you can see like the previous balance and then an available balance. So you can compare them to see if the balance has changed at all. There's 11 of those addresses that have staked Hex.
Yep.
These
Exactly,
11
yeah.
right here, and that comes out to be about 8 billion Hex. But then I kind of went deeper and looked at all the addresses that entered the adoption amplifier. And these particular addresses went into the adoption amplifier, minted Hex in the early days, and then just a few days before big payday, they all staked. At least the majority of these addresses staked. There's a few that didn't. And they staked just for a few days, and then ended the stake right after big payday, and then all the tokens in these addresses just sit dormant. Like the liquid tokens don't move at all, and we're talking about thousands of addresses as you scroll down this list.
Yeah, you see it like on the right side with the small button. This is like, and you see it here on the left, like 3,231 lines.
Yeah, exactly. And this turns out to be a fat stack. So we're talking about the total liquid tokens here is over 544 billion tokens.
Yeah, which is the majority of the hex supply, which never sold a single hex. And as it is liquid, it opens up way more interest to earn for everybody else, right?
That's correct. Yeah. If the controlling entity for Hex staked every single token, which is what some people erroneously want, that don't quite understand, then we would no longer get like 5.77 hex per T
No,
share.
you would get like
One.
0.9 or 1.2, something around that.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw this right before Big Payday. It literally plummeted to like 1 hex per T share. So
Yeah.
it's really actually a good thing that the origin address keeps most of the tokens liquid, so that hex is fair for the user. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, and also that the origin address doesn't increase its position over time. So the only 11 staked addresses, they don't earn a lot of the staking supply, or do they?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, you can't have the controlling entity for hex dominate both the liquid and the stake side, because obviously we want there to be have meat on the bones left for users, right? For real users.
Yeah.
We do need centralized ownership so that we can protect the price, because centralized ownership doesn't sell and doesn't have any need to sell.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we need to have a plenty of meat left on the bones, and you can clearly see that actually, if you go to this Hex Supply Summary,
There you see like all the
you
numbers.
can see all the numbers. Yeah. Do you need me to enlarge this a little bit?
Yeah, I mean it's okay like this, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay,
I can
nice.
read the numbers.
So yeah, if you look at, for example, so this first, I know you guys went over these numbers before, so I don't know. Do you want to go through?
Yeah, so just let's go just over it pretty quickly. The most impressive numbers right here is the user staked hex, because like of all the hex staked, the users own like 87% nearly. Yeah, exactly here. And another number what I really like was that the liquid coins, which is mostly the OA, is like 95.23%. So the user circulating hex, it's only like this 1.1 billion, which is pretty cool. And the numbers I want to talk about a bit deeper is down there with like lower balance liability, higher balance liability. Like if you could explain like those few numbers there, what they mean, like what is meant by lower balance liability and higher balance liability.
Yeah, sure. So I created a separate tab called the Liabilities page, and initially, this was a few weeks back. With the help of another community member, we imported all the addresses that held a minimum balance of 1 million hex tokens, and we sort of just ignored any address that
With the minimum balance, did you mean only liquid or staked?
just liquid, so not stake, because obviously stake doesn't exist because they're burned up.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's one.
yeah, but yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, so we just looked, we just imported the addresses that had 1 million liquid hex tokens, spendable hex tokens, or greater, and then everything else that was below that we ignored. And then, of course, we haven't captured any addresses from the point in time that we imported these specific addresses. But we at least, by what we have captured, it at least shows the majority of the addresses that hold liquid hex tokens. So yeah, so you could see a column. This left column is previous balance, and then the right one is available balance. The available balance is literally just what the wallet has in it right now, at least as the from the last point in time that it was updated. And then you can compare it to what it previously had to sort of see what if the numbers have changed, right? So if the numbers haven't changed, then they're just categorized as an equal balance, right? And then if the numbers are higher, then it's a higher balance. If it's lower, then it's a lower balance.
So I would be interested like in the second address because it shows like 60 million, over 60 million hex less. Is this one big seller, or do you know maybe?
This is actually Uniswap version 2.
Okay, that's the
Yeah.
that's the contract address.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, so you can see the
Yeah,
numbers.
So previously, this contract address had 153 million hex in the pool and USDC on the other side. No, on hex on the other side. This is the hex pool, you said, no? Yeah.
Yeah, this is Hex.
And due to the rise of hex in the last weeks, this number got reduced by a lot of million hex because more buyers than sellers.
Yeah, this is what's great about these numbers is you can see instantly right away if there's a large change, and that gives you pertinent data, like you're suggesting. But yeah, so like
then I would assume like the fourth one with the 70 million and then 264 is also like a liquidity provider.
This one was actually a seller, I believe. Let's see here. We can actually click on it. I hyperlink all of them.
For the audience out there, if you have this Excel sheet open, you can click on all those links, and then you can verify the addresses and what they have done on the blockchain on Etherscan by yourself. So yeah, Günter just gave you a sheet where you can verify everything you want to verify.
Yeah, the hyperlinks are nice too.
Are you opening up this hyperlink or not?
Yeah, can you see it or no?
No, because you would need to
let me
do another screen share for that. Okay. Because I guess you only screen shared like the Excel sheet and not like your whole window or something like that.
Let's try it again. Let's see.
So let's have a look in the chat. So everybody sends best wishes to Alan. I guess he will be fine, like 1 or 2 days. Nothing bad, so he didn't get COVID or something like that. So just
let's see here.
So are there any questions from the audience in regards to some numbers? I don't want to confuse you or something like that. Just if there is a number you don't know, like what is meant by it, please just write a comment and we can go over it. And now Günter already shared his screen with this one address, but we wanted to have a look at it.
Yes. You could click here actually and see instantly that they hold 64 million tokens.
Yes.
So notice you don't see any cells here. You just see transfer, but you have to like kind of investigate these. So you can click on those, and then you can see they transferred from this address to here. So click on that, and notice 0 hex. Wow, that should already tell you that they sold, right? Well, I shouldn't say that they sold. They could have. This is where you have to be careful. They could have sold. They could have staked it. They could have added liquidity. So you kind of have to be careful not to jump to conclusions. But if you look at like swap exact token, click here, and you can already see selling swapped hex.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I guess with this, be careful not to jump to conclusions. You sort of have to investigate a little bit.
And do you also know like when there is a old high stake ending? Because what I know, I guess the origin address only has the next end stake next year or in the end of this year.
I haven't checked, but we could check like on hex.vision.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I mean, it would be a mess to check it on Hex.vision because you would have to check when the stake was started. Because in order to move the share rate, it should be an old stake with like high interest. I mean, short stakes can also move the share rate, but in like the higher impact should have the long stakes.
Yeah, I see. Now, if do you want me to just open up hex.vision so people
No,
can?
no need for
Okay.
that. I was just asking, like, if you notice, if you noticed it anywhere or not. No, it's fine like that. So can we go back to the
Oh
Excel
yeah.
sheet actually, because I would still like to talk a bit more about those other liabilities and about the ultra high risk wallet liabilities and the high risk liabilities.
Oh yeah, sure. So let's see.
But yes, like so for the audience, if you want to play around in this sheet, you just need to go here on the liabilities tab, and then as Günter showed you, just go on EasyScan, look it up, like from where to where did the hex move, and how did they end up? Was it a sell in the end, or was it just a liquidity provider, or what happened with it? So in the hex market, you can verify everything you want to. You have all statistics, all data you can dream about.
Yeah, which actually has a strong value proposition, because then you can make a better informed decisions in terms of buying, selling, or staking. You know what I mean? Because you have more data to work with. So
Sure, yeah, because also like there are some guys looking at who is emergency and staking with higher volume, and they are eye fucking those guys, and they see, okay, now he got like several million hacks, and then they wait like, are you going to sell? Are you going to sell? And wait for the sell, and then they buy, for example. So
yeah.
it's adding a new layer to trading as well. Even if we all say don't trade, trading will get you wrecked, which is true. So I definitely made more money staking than I have ever made trading. And but if you want to do it, or if you just want to IFARC the market, if you just want to see what's the network state, then yeah, you can go ahead in Hex, and you will have a paradise of statistics and numbers.
It's also a great tool for whales. Like if whales are just tired of seeing, some of these fat wallets sell their stacks, in batches of like 4 or 5 million, then they can come instantly to like this Hex Supply Summary, and they can be like, okay, like how much money are we really talking about if we want to like liquidate all these sellers, right? So we have a few different categories. First of all, you'll see lower balance, higher balance equal other liabilities and total liabilities, which is just the sum of all these liabilities. Now, the total liabilities, of course, is just all liquid HEX tokens owned by the users. We don't actually consider tokens owned by the controlling entity of HEX as a liability, because the controlling entity doesn't sell HEX. It doesn't mean that they won't ever sell HEX in the future, but if there was any type of selling, it's likely that would occur in the distant future and would be done in a responsible way with like small batches, right? So, but as of to date, the controlling entity has never sold any HEX.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think like this controlling entity will sell in the future? Because in my point of view, there is no need to sell anything ever.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no need. Does it mean that it can't? No, I mean, sure. Like it could use the network just like any other like regular user. It's just it just doesn't need to. So you could logically conclude that like it may never actually sell like anything.
Yeah, and just to explain the audience why I think it will never sell a single hex is because we don't only have the origin address in hex. So during the launch phase, we also had a so-called flush address where everybody sent it Ethereum to get the possibility to mint a certain amount of hex. And what I saw, there are still plenty of ETH left, to create liquidity pools, to do marketing, to do whatever is necessary, and to do where nobody has the sense of work solely from the work of others. The sense of expectations of profits solely from the work of others.
Yeah, meaning Hex is not a security.
Yeah, meaning Hex is not a security, exactly.
Yep.
It's a tradable asset like Bitcoin and Ethereum as well.
Yep. So here you have like these liabilities section, and if you're ever wondering like what these, if you just get what they mean or you need more of a clear definition, you can always like head over to this page, definition of terms, and it kind of breaks everything down, right? So let's say you take, for example, the category of higher balance, right? And you can kind of look at this category and see, okay, what are some of the activities that this specific address may have engaged in order to have a higher balance? So obviously, the user could have just bought Hex, and so it has more liquid tokens, right? But you shouldn't assume that that's what the user did without actually investigating, because the user could have also just ended a stake and they minted fresh tokens, and now they're actually dumping those tokens on the market. Well, you're going to want to know that, because they're a liability for the price, because they're pushing the price down. So that's something to consider. They could have also, sold Hex like after they. Well, I guess I just said that. And they could have received Hex from like via a transfer from a different address, and so that boosted their balance. And they could have also like removed Hex from a liquidity pool, and that gave them a higher like liquid balance as well. So anyway, so that's the higher balance. And then, users could go through this and look at what a lower balance, basically the same applies to the lower balance, but like opposite, right? You could have like added Hex to a liquidity pool. You could
so generally speaking, higher and lower balance doesn't equally mean like bought Hex or sold Hex, but just means overall can have an impact to the price. And it is an active address. It's like the second thing.
Yeah, it's actually using the network. You don't just have like dormant addresses like doing absolutely nothing. Yeah. So, and again, you could look at lower balance, right? You could have sold Hex. You could have staked Hex. So don't assume it's a seller because their lower balance dropped from 5 million to 0 or 20 million to 0. I saw that recently today. I saw the balance drop from 20 million to 0, and I first thought, oh, look at this seller. They just dumped 20 million on their heads. But then I went and researched it, and I was like, no, they actually didn't. They actually staked 20 million tokens. So you got to be careful about jumping to conclusions, as I stated before. But yeah, they could have, transferred Hex to a different address, added Hex to a liquidity pool, or even in the near future, sacrificed Hex in order to get a Pulse token for the Pulse chain launch.
Sure. Agree on that. And the equal balance is just like haven't done anything since Big Payday, or what is the...
No, so it doesn't necessarily mean from that point in time. It just means that it's an equal balance. So if you go back here, you'll see a previous and an available balance. I periodically update the previous balance every once in a while. I'll just reset it so that it equals the available, and then I'll go from that point. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean from Big Payday. It just means as of right now, especially with this spreadsheet over the last, let's say, couple of weeks, if you see an equal balance, it's maintained the exact number of Hex tokens down to the very like decimal point. So let me just give you an example. Let's see. Here we go. This is a perfect example to talk about these addresses here. So these are very large addresses. Notice 1.3 billion down to like 1 billion, 1.1 billion.
Yep.
These are all equal balances. No activity for like, no like recent activity that would change the balance, and down to the exact decimal point, you could see up here, 0.72109.
Yeah.
And then you see it also here, 0.72109.
Mm-hmm.
So these are just because somebody has a large wallet, it doesn't mean that this person is a seller. And if they're not selling, you don't care about them in terms of a liability. You really only care at any given point at any arbitrary given point in time, which addresses are actually hurting the price by selling their tokens on the market. That's really all that you care about in terms of price appreciation.
Mm-hmm. And I really liked it, because if you start from this list and just look down the highest balances, there is a lot which didn't move at all. I mean, yet now with the 10 and 20 million hex, you see some movements as well. But with the higher ones, you don't see any movement. It's cool.
Yeah, and not just those fat ones, but also a lot of other addresses that you could see. It's a very long list. In fact, if you take a look at this page here, look at the size of the equal balance liabilities. It's literally dominating these categories. So if you take the sum of all these buildings, let's say we call them, you get the total liabilities, and equal balance makes up the majority. So really the major threats for the price is lower, higher, and other liabilities.
Yeah, I agree on that. Just a question here. What does series 1, 2, and 3 mean?
Yeah, this is just a weird way that Excel automatically labels these. This turns out to be the liquid hex tokens, the blue buildings.
Yeah.
The orange is the US dollar value of those tokens.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the series 3 is I know these names don't make sense. This is just the percentage of the total liabilities. Yeah. So.
Okay. Now, anyway, just to that I know like what those buildings behind mean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have a pretty low like out of the total liabilities, the real threat is just a tiny little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can see that clearly on the summary. I guess we could talk about these categories here, right? So,
sure.
Well, so I guess total liabilities is about 27.2 billion, right? And then you have other liabilities, which is around 3.4 billion. And just to kind of like recap that real quickly, other liabilities is any address that had less than 1 million tokens at the time that these addresses were imported. And it also includes any addresses that just literally have not been captured. It's any address that holds liquid tokens that haven't been captured on this spreadsheet. That's a quick summary of other liabilities. So that's about 3.4 billion. So those haven't even been investigated at all. Are they buying? Are they selling? Are they staking? We haven't even looked at those. But it's a relatively small number, in comparison, because we're talking about 13% of the total liquid hex is made up with other liabilities. And then notice the equal balance. That's 79%. So really, out of the 100% of liquid tokens, right?
Only 21%.
We really only care about 21%. That's the high risk liabilities, which is nothing more than just total liabilities minus minus the equal balance, I guess. I think that's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah, minus the equal balance. So it's like lower, higher, and other liabilities combined together. So the 12.8% and the 369 and the 424.
Yep. And then the ultra high risk is just the sum of the lower and the higher balances, where it's not considering the other liabilities, but literally just these two. So
but you can't say that this like it is just possible for those addresses to sell some hex because they have a liquid balance. But in fact, those can be like all the old guys who just moving a bit inside their portfolio, like end stake something, restake something, and on the other hand, it can be also like all the new guys, yeah, who just like keeping putting money into Hex, increasing their value or starting their staking ladder and so on.
That's correct. Yeah, you have to be careful to actually research, each address and then that, because obviously this is a lot of work.
Yeah,
I'm more busy now in my days of retirement than I was working as a full-time technician.
I hope your family don't get upset with you or something like that.
Yeah, no, I do have a lot of free time, so I can afford it. But yeah, I also take a break from it and just live life. You can't stay in a spreadsheet all day.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah, I was also like I fucking EtherScan over days and so on. Like during the launch phase and during some of the 70% dips and so on.
Yeah, yeah. Even today, you see all the selling. You can. What's great about being in Hex is that you don't have to sit there and be afraid of the price just crashing on you. I'm like, oh man, what are we gonna do? The price dropped below 4 cents. It's like, no, you could actually go to the spreadsheet if you want, and you could start researching the addresses that are selling. I mean, there's other tools we have too. Different bots that maybe make it quicker, maybe more efficient. But if you wanted to dig deeper, you literally could just pull up the spreadsheet and start researching the addresses, and kind of will give you a peace of mind.
Yeah, sure. So let's go a bit deeper in that. So because what I see and what I say like since months already is that Hex will be the best coin for a crypto bear market. Would you agree on that statement, and like why or why not?
I agree 100%. And my main reason for holding that position is that, think about it. You have all your staked hex, right? And first of all your tokens that are staked, you don't even have to worry about. You don't have to make any decisions. There's no decision to be made. They're literally just staked. They're burned up out of existence. There's no need to even ever consider emergency end staking. These individual stakes are just generating beautiful, trustless interest. And that's something that these other tokens in crypto don't have. They might offer you high interest by some third party where there's counterparty risk and you don't own your private keys, and they could change the terms of the interest that they're willing to pay you. Well, that has zero value to me. I want to have full control of my money, full control of my private keys, and be able to earn beautiful interest that's generated from just lines of computer code that were audited 3 times. There's no mistakes. It's immutable. It was launch complete, and it's literally used by over 20,000 users.
Yeah, like even today, for example, I got a call or a message. Hey, Patrick, I'm not able to interact with my exchange and so on, and I want to do something, to buy something, I guess it was, and all those centralized exchanges, all those third-party providers, they are down from time to time, and I don't want to have my money somewhere where I cannot access it when I want to.
Yeah, of course. Because, I mean, think about it, like having your money even just one day on an exchange is such a great risk. What if that day the exchange gets hacked and it goes down and your money is gone? Or what if something happens and like you have to beg the exchange, please give me my money so I can spend it.
Yeah.
I encountered this issue with like I had money previously on like crypto.com, and I literally had to beg for days and days and days, please Give me back access to my money. And meanwhile, they're just some bullshit company in Hong Kong, right? That has complete control of your money, and they just refuse. I finally got it back, right? But like, it was just like constant begging. Like I told myself I would never put myself in that position again, like ever.
Would you like to share like why they had issues with your account, or why they did that in the first place, or?
Well, so what I was doing was in all of 2020, I was investing very heavily into Hex with each paycheck from my employer. And what I would do is I would have a percentage of the checks directly deposited onto the app, onto the crypto.com app or whatever. And then I would just buy directly. I would buy Ethereum, transfer the Ethereum over to MetaMask, and then swap for Hex. And so it was very easy in terms of like the fees were low. This is back when gas fees were cheap. Direct deposit, there was no fee. But then there came a point in time where they literally just froze my money because they thought I was money laundering. And I said, no, I'm literally working, full time as a wind turbine technician. All of this money is 100% legitimate. And I'm directly depositing money from my payroll in order to buy investment. And it's just like that. It was just a nightmare. The support was slow about getting back. It was just a terrible customer experience for me, and I told myself I would never do that again.
Yeah. I mean, I also say the community to stay away from Crow, but not because they're like a shit coin or something like that, but they got so much more clients in the second half of 2020 or like in the first few months of 2021, and all their offerings are based on their token as well, and this token also rised with the overall bull market, and it was just not a good price value ratio what you could get like in the last 6 to 9 months with them.
Yeah, and also you got to think too. This is a great opportunity to bring up this point. So in Hex, not only do you have centralized ownership, where the controlling entity owns 95% of all liquid tokens and owns 87% of the entire Hex network, right? And never needs to sell because the controlling entity or entities consist of where the capital is in the billions of dollars. We're talking about multiple billions. So there's no need to ever sell. And Hex, this is super important, no operational costs. You're not paying for facilities. You're not paying for employees. You're not
paying for graphic cards who are mining.
No.
Not paying for the developers, like for the team,
You're not paying for anything. There's no operational cost. This cannot be. I don't know how to underscore this. This is such an important point, because if you're investing your money into some company like crypto.com, for example, your money is literally, they're going to sell their tokens. They're going to dump their tokens on your head to pay for their operational cost. We don't have that in Hex. We have such limited supply, and every time a user stakes those tokens, the supply gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you're earning interest. I mean, this is what you want in a bear market. I would tell people, like, obviously we're not giving anyone financial advice, but you should seriously consider, if you hold a stack of just random tokens, whatever they are, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever other cryptos you own, you would do very well, I think, to liquidate the entire position of all those tokens, buy Hex, and then sacrifice a percentage of those tokens for Pulse. And this could give you some tremendous financial opportunities that you've never experienced in life before.
I agree. I totally agree on that. And actually, that was exactly what I did when Hex launched, because I had a shitcoin portfolio of 2017, and in the end of 2019, most of those positions were like minus 80%, minus 90%, and so on. And it was, so with me, it was the same with you. I also got into the Hex community just like 12 days before the start. So those 12 days were also like filled with plenty of research. And I still can remember. So it was like the first day of Hex. I already had like a bag of E sitting there, like to dollar cost average in. And Richard was live streaming, and like in the end, he was like, and maybe you want to think about selling your shit coins for ease to be able to get into Hex. And yes, I guess the day after I did that and had a bigger bag of ease to put in the adoption amplifier, I continued to dollar cost average in, and was a pretty wise decision, as it turns out.
Extremely wise decision. I mean, think about it. The price went up like 121x, or sorry, 1,000.
1,200x.
Yeah, 1,021x or something like that. Some really high number above 1,000, and that's not even including interest. That's literally just price appreciation.
It's 1,203x before interest and over 2,500 after interest.
Yeah, okay.
Because Richard is only doubling it with interest, but if you have like a 10-year stake, you're sitting from the beginning, you're sitting at 170% or like 2.7x.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, the early stakes, they're sitting very nice. If anyone that got into Hex early and staked it deep into the future is doing really well right now. We don't need to discuss precise numbers, but they're doing very well.
They're doing really good. Yeah.
So, I mean,
let's discuss some questions from the chat.
Yeah.
So Tony Scott is asking, does market cap count staked or liquid Hex or both? It is counted. So if you go on nomics.com, the other ranking sites are still not able to derive the correct number from Etherscan. So CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko and CoinPaprika are showing incorrect numbers. But if you go on nomics.com, which got awarded to be the best ranking site of all crypto, you see the circulating Hex number times price, and that is the market cap of Hex. What else? CryptoLearner, only around 10% of the Hex are staked. I don't think that's the reason why it doesn't. No.
But we can
I also don't think that this is the reason. Yeah, and I mean, like the centralized exchanges like CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, they just get a wrong number. They don't know like how to get a dynamic circulating supply number directly out of Etherscan. And when it comes to Nomics, the Nomics founder also looked into Hex and agreed that it's a really good product. And he was just asking the community, like, "Hey guys, how can I display the right numbers of your coin on my page?" And the community developers from Hex, they reached out to him and say, "Yeah, here you have like this bridge and this bridge. Just put this and this." And you have it automatically and don't need to do anything else. So,
also, cool. one comment about the 10%, right? So, sure, 9.7% is staked out of all total Hex that's ever been like minted, right? So total Hex includes circulating Hex and all staked Hex, around 633 billion. But if you go down to this section, out of all the tokens that's held, that's owned by the users, 66.18% is staked. We're talking 2/3 of all tokens owned by users is staked, and 1/3 is liquid. So these numbers are very revealing. Like just saying 10% is it's not really looking at the whole picture of what's actually happening in the network.
Mm-hmm. And what you also have to notice is that CoinMarketCap is owned by Binance, so they don't like to list something which is decreasing their market share, because they only earn money if you transact on their centralized platform, or if you do leverage trading on their platform. And Hex is giving the ownership of the money back to the users, and therefore, like, it's all about moving your money away from exchanges and get your money in your own hands, in your own possession again. And that's like damaging the core value of Binance, for example, which owns CoinMarketCap.
Yep. Yep.
So back to the which coin is best to own in the bear market. So we already discussed, like, Hex has a high centralization, which doesn't need to sell any Hex, which never sold any Hex, which is a pretty strong party, or a third world priest in Hex, let's call it like that. And what else? What do you think will the community do? Like, what do you think might happen in a crypto bear market? Because there is a possibility that we already entered it in the last days. No.
Yeah, I think first of all, strong possibility that we have just started a multi-year bear market for crypto. These prices have crashed. This is a crash pattern. This is not like, oh, price dipped 25%, 30%. It's like, no, they dipped. It crashed hardcore. I think when I checked Ethereum, it was like down. I think it crashed 56% or something like that. And
the top was nearly 58.
Yeah,
that's like the lowest point.
Yeah, so I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum crashed hard, and this is with all the topping signals that we have. There's many topping signals. I mean, come on, when you're in some steakhouse in Bumblefuck, and, like, I don't mean to dox myself, but let's just say you're in Bumblefuck, Texas, for example, somewhere, and you're in some random steakhouse, and the waiter is talking to you about cryptocurrencies and about digital wallets. That's a
top signal.
Yeah, that's like, signal. Right? Or when I don't know, like, there's a lot of signals, right? You got these NFTs that are just insanely overvalued. You've got dog coins pumping like insane prices. These are all topping signals. The price doesn't just go vertical and go straight up. That's delusional to think that way. Like, a bear market does come, and when it comes in crypto, you can expect 2 to 3 years. So it's very important, unless you want to see your portfolio erode to a value that's like 85, 90%, or 95% of what it was at the peak, you need to seriously consider
doing something,
taking some action, right?
Yeah.
Like, take some action that will insulate you and protect you. And one beautiful thing that you can do is literally go to an asset like Hex that.
Continue.
I mean, one thing to seriously consider is you're going to want to put your money in something that is likely to do very well in a bear market. And Hex is a perfect example because it has insanely high yield. We're talking about 37, 38, 40% for long stakes, and it's trustless interest. And, it's decorrelated. Like, most of the liquidity for Hex is paired with USDC. So it's decorrelated.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up, because the high yield is just a future onboarding indicator for me. Like, in the bear market, like, if somebody tells you, but why should I enter crypto? It's down, and then you tell them, but Hex keeping its pace, it's not down that much, and you can earn that high amount of interest. So if it continues to go down with the whole market, you will be still break even in a year or 2 years. And when we go out of the bear market again, you will have way more hex than before.
That's true. And also, I think the price will actually not just go sideways or go down, it will actually go up because you have very limited supply already. Hex has insanely low liquidity on Uniswap. And you know what you're likely to see is that many people that want high yield in crypto are going to start putting their money into Hex, and that's going to cause the price to go up because they have to buy Hex, they don't have it, right? So it automatically is creating buy pressure. Not to mention this huge launch of Pulse Chain, which is literally the most bullish event that is about to come to pass that I've ever seen in crypto. Literally the greatest airdrop in crypto history and human history. Where
let's stay a bit there. So because I totally agree, I'm really excited for what will come with Pulse Chain and so on. I have already prepared my portfolio for the sacrifice phase. And so first of all, would you like to introduce like what are those big steps which Pulse Chain is going to solve, and what is the reason behind Pulse Chain?
Yeah, I mean the major reason why Pulse Chain is created to begin with is to solve high gas fees. Everyone is tired. No one wants to pay $500 to swap Ethereum for Hex. No one wants to pay, $150 to send, not just Hex, but like any cryptocurrency. No one wants to pay $150 to send USDC to their, to some friend or whatever, or to their spouse or like somebody in a third world country. That is not workable. That is not scalable. Ethereum scaled, or Ethereum's price went up without solving scalability issues, meaning high gas fees. This is a major deal breaker, and it's a barrier for entry, especially for those who don't have a lot of money. And we have to think about with crypto, we have to think about those in third world countries where we want their lives to be better. We don't want them to live impoverished lives where they don't have a chance to make wealth because Ethereum has insanely high gas fees, and we have this mafia extortion crew that's just like ripping everyone off, $150 to send some money to someone. That's just outrageous.
Like today I saw transactions with 1,890 Gwei.
Yeah.
So just an insane amount, the transaction fee, like a whole ETH and something like that.
Yeah, this is unacceptable behavior. So this is the main thing that Pulse Chain is solving. But in addition to that, Pulse Chain is also giving people an amazing opportunity to become like a major player in the coin of their choice on that network. So if they really like Hex, well, then they have an opportunity. If they miss the Hex train, well, they have an opportunity to buy Hex on the Pulse chain, right? Or they have an opportunity to buy Pulse, where Pulse is the native token of Pulse chain, right? You have an opportunity to gain a strong position. There's literally only two types of people that make money in crypto, that make real money in crypto, and it's either founders of coins or exchanges. And it's those who enter into projects at the launch of those projects with serious capital while continuing to add to their position, and they hold for a long period of time.
Yeah,
this is extremely
I totally agree.
It's not just entering any random project at any arbitrary point in time. It's entering at the launch of those projects or coins, and especially ones that are designed well and built well. And what more could you ask for? It's basically a better version of Ethereum. Pulse Chain is a better version of Ethereum with cheap-ass transaction fees that are like pennies.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. So do you think you will get the best deal during the sacrifice phase?
Yes. Oh, no hesitation. 100% yes.
Okay. Good. Because I'm still not sure about that, because I still think that there might be something that you might get more pulls after it launched.
Yeah, I mean, so you're assuming that Pulse will like dump, right? And so the price
I mean,
will.
I'm thinking about it. I'm not assuming it, but I'm thinking about it. Yeah, if
Yeah,
it's a possibility or not.
yeah. You're thinking that it's that maybe after this like pent up FOMO for Pulse Chain, that when Pulse actually launches, that the token that you have a lot of people that put sell pressure on the price, and then you'll try to scoop them up at a discount. You could play that game, but I wouldn't just play that side of the game.
No, I won't play like just that side of the game. I will also sacrifice, but I will also play that side of the game.
Yeah. I think it's better to play all sides. So this is a complicated. It's kind of a complicated game of chess. There's no everyone I feel like that gets involved with Pulse Chain will win to some degree, except you might win with a greater magnitude if you choose a smarter strategy. And the way that it's being designed, you're gonna want to sacrifice your hex in the first 7 days of the launch.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree on that, because it's not like the adoption amplifier where you should wait a bit because the market will run out of liquidity, run out of money, what we saw after the first months in Hex. And this will not be the same. So here in this launch phase, it will be the best to get in without any time loss.
That's correct. Now you could also have, you could implement a strategy, right? Like if you want a dollar cost average into the sacrifice chamber over time, over 30 days, for example.
Yeah, but what advantage might that have? I don't see any advantage in that, because yeah.
The only real advantage you would have for something like that is let's say we don't know when the sacrifice is going to start, but let's say it starts in
Next week.
next week or a couple weeks or whatever it takes, right? You got to give them time to work out the details of these things. But let's say it starts in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
We really don't know what the price of Hex is going to do, because a lot of people in crypto, especially given the bear market, they will have the opportunity to liquidate their entire positions where they already made a lot of profit. And even though the price has dropped on them violently and over the last 24 hours, they could liquidate their positions, buy up some Hex, and be able to have plenty of Hex to sacrifice, right? And so this is going to drive the price up. And it's a low liquidity environment, so it doesn't take much economic energy to push the price up. And the price of Hex has basically the price consolidated for 12 consecutive months. And we've started a major expansion wave, which is just sort of like temporarily interrupted by some brief selling, but nothing that's major. So there are so many bullish elements right now that you could see like a $1 Hex. And if that's the case, you do want to maximize the US dollar value that you're sacrificing. So it's not clear. Nobody knows, right, when something will peak, right? That's just not knowable information. But if you think that Hex will go to $1 in the near future, well, maybe you don't sacrifice everything on day one. Maybe you kind of like dollar cost average into the sacrifice chamber.
Yeah, I mean, I was planning for the Crypto Sparbuch community to do something like in the first week still, because do you think that like between week 2 and the last day, the Hex price can go up more than the time loss is?
I think anything is possible in crypto.
Yeah, okay, I agree on that. I agree on that. Yeah.
It just doesn't. I mean, honestly, if you want to talk about numbers, right? You could push the price of Hex up to $30 with only $200 million. So it depends.
Assuming there is nobody selling on the way up.
Correct, but let's say you absorb sell pressure on the way up, right? Let's say you absorb sell pressure on the way up. Well, there's only X number of tokens available for purchase. And there's always going to be people that have liquid tokens that are just never sellers. So yeah, 200 million plus whatever, and that's obviously a real high price, right? But let's just say you use like $1. I didn't do the math, but it's not going to take that much economic energy to push the price up to $1. And $1, by the way, it's not like a final target for Hex. It is literally a pit stop. It's a pit stop where people will cash out, price goes down, right? But then the price will just go up again, retest the dollar, and then break it and form a new all-time high. So $1 is not some magical number for Hex. It's literally a pit stop. I see Hex in the future. We're talking $10, $100, $1,000 in the future. $1,000 Hex in 10 to 15 years.
Really, man, I get a heart attack here thinking about my portfolio and that price.
Don't stroke out on me during the stream. I can't help you.
Yeah, I won't do that. And I have another question here in the chat, because Richard were assuming to his friends and just putting out random numbers, but he said 2/3 pools and 1/3 Hex, and I personally disagree on that. I would say 1/3 pools and 2/3 Hex.
Oh, I'm 100% in agreement. And he was just pulling out a random number, right? He's just giving people an idea, something to think about. But I actually was already thinking, 1/3 of the liquid Hex could be sacrificed for Pulse, because it's an amazing opportunity. We're talking about the point of maximum financial opportunity, and then just keep the other 2/3. The other 2/3 you could keep liquid, or you could stake it. You have options, right? But I think at any point in time, you really should only have a small percentage of your Hex stack liquid, very small percentage.
Yeah, sure. So especially after the fork, you staking on the Pulse chain will be nearly feeless. Nearly, it will just cost a few pennies, I guess, and therefore any liquid amount is worth staking it. Because right now with the Ethereum blockchain fees, you only say if you have less than 100,000 Hex liquid, just keep it liquid and don't stake it, because you would lose more money with staking and unstaking fees compared to what you gain.
Yeah, that's true. And also by keeping it is also some wisdom in keeping a small amount liquid, right? If you want to, if you have some certain financial objectives, right? Obviously we can't, Hex is not just created where you're only a buyer, right? You can also be a seller. You can sell at any point in time. We just advise people hey, if you are going to sell a small percentage of your position. Don't sell everything. That's not smart. Why stop yourself completely out of a market, out of the highest and fastest appreciating crypto asset that's ever been designed or created? Why would you fully stop yourself out of the market? It's not smart. Maybe keep 2 or 3% liquid, and then if you want to sell in small batches. Be a responsible seller where you could still take some profits from the market, but you're also not.
I mean, as of right now, I guess I have 1% liquid of my entire Hex portfolio, and this is just because I have an onboarding account showing to the community and so on. And in this onboarding account, I just keep the Hex liquid because we are going to sacrifice some amount of that, and we will wait to stake it for after the fork.
Yeah, it's smart. It's smart. I mean, because I see some wallets that obviously some have large wallets, and the money could be tied to a hedge fund, or it could be tied to a business or a corporation. And so for those, they might have legal restrictions where they can't actually stake their money. They have to keep it liquid. So we're not talking about those guys. I mean, those guys aren't dumping on anyone's head anyway. They're part of the equal balances, right? They just hold the liquid Hex. They defend the price by not selling it, and they're making fat profits for their corporation, right? But yet everyone else has a smaller wallet,
I would have another question from the audience for you. It's why is it such a mystery when Pulse is launching? So what are the problems they still have to solve?
I mean, you don't want to rush something of this nature or this caliber. So I'd say just be patient. You want things to be done in the right way, not rushed. You want to be able to think about all the elements that would go into this. You want everything to be fair. You want to make sure.
But
There's
actually, for me, it looks like Richard is rushing it, because on Sunday he said it's just a matter of days.
Yeah, but notice he hasn't actually launched it yet, though. So he might have, you know what I mean? So he's not stupid, right? Like, he wants to make sure things are done in the correct way. And like they say, the old adage, haste makes waste. Well, do something right the first time. Think it all the way through. Think about all the ramifications. Think about the game theory. Think about how we can really get everyone excited during this time, especially when people are suffering like pain from their losses.
At first I was thinking like, okay, maybe Richard wants to rush it, that only true believers are getting in at the launch phase.
Yeah, that could be an element, but of course, like, we really want to capture a large percentage of the Ethereum market. We want this to, because this isn't about Hex like at all. This is literally about how do we make the Ethereum network better?
Yeah.
By essentially keeping all the good stuff and then fixing all the bad stuff, mainly gas fees, and then maybe any bugs that they might find along the way. Make it better.
And during that, giving everybody already their coins. Like with all with the full fork, yeah. Would you like to explain that mechanism a bit? Like, what are like old forks of Ethereum, and what is the pulse chain fork? Why is it like special compared to old forks of Ethereum?
Yeah, so I'll go in as deep as I can. I'll keep it really simple because I want to be careful to stay within my scope of knowledge, right? But essentially, pulse chain is copying the exact system state of the Ethereum network at a certain point in time, called a snapshot. And at that point in time, the majority of tokens that exist on Ethereum in people's wallets will get duplicated on the pulse chain side for those wallets. So if you held, for example, let's say you had 1 million staked Hex, just to use an example, and 1 million liquid Hex, well, you're going to have 1 million staked and 1 million liquid on the pulse chain network. No one has done this. Usually when people do a fork of something, they only do a fork for one coin. But pulse chain is the entire system state for all ERC20 tokens, with the exception of maybe 2 shit coins that we just don't care about. And I'm pretty sure that if the shitcoin community is listening to this, they know which ones we're talking about. The ones that copycat coins, basically.
Exactly, yeah. So this is like that's why Richard is also calling it like the biggest airdrop in history, because it's a full fork. And if you can go like a bit deeper in the questions right now, one thing I'm still wondering about is how will Pulse solve the stablecoin issue on after the fork, like the PDAI and the PUSDC and the PUSDT.
That's outside of my scope of knowledge. I can't comment on that.
Okay, yeah, I already asked like in the post chain voice chat and so on.
You can only speak confidently about topics that you are qualified to speak on. I'm not qualified to speak on that.
Okay, yeah, me neither. And I just came up with the question, and so since then I'm looking for somebody who can answer me that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens with those. Yeah, I don't know.
Because like within the stable coins, it's also special because DAI is a other form of stable coin compared to USDC, for example. So yeah, there is a reason behind my question, yeah, because I'm thinking about which coin should or can I bridge over once the Pulse network launched, to be able to buy up PHEX and Pulse on the Pulse chain.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
And yeah, that's the reason behind it. But I guess during the sacrifice phase, somebody will tell me, like,
So I'm sure
which coin is the best.
somebody that's that understands these things, smarter than both of us maybe, has already is working on it.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
maybe at first I need to go to Uniswap and buy up pools, and then I can bridge over those pools.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
And the
Let's see
stable
how it
coins are
works.
tricky because it's actually tied, it's pegged to the US dollar, right?
Yeah.
So like if you go and mint new USDC on another network, right? Now you've doubled the supply of that, right? Even though it lives on a different network. So how does that work, right? If it's pegged to the US dollar. So these are just some things to think about, I guess. I'm sure they'll be solved. They'll be solved by much smarter people. That's all I know. Looks like somebody's asking about like, is it a good idea to sacrifice Hex, or should they sacrifice something else?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what coin is best to sacrifice? What is your opinion on that?
Okay, so I think if you're not going to donate to the Sens Foundation, then I think you should sacrifice Hex, because you're removing it from circulation. And then if you don't have the Hex that you want to sacrifice, well, you're going to buy it and you're going to pump your own bags. So that's just smart. Sacrifice Hex, right?
Exactly.
I agree. So why not pump your own bags? Unless you like.
I mean, this is the first thing, but the second thing is the value. So I still see a really high probability that we get a rising Hex price until the start of the launch phase, and maybe onwards as well. And that's why I would do my money in Hex right now. I already explained it on the German live stream last Monday. So like 10 days ago. And because I see a high probability that the Hex price will keep rising. And if that is the case, it's a speculation, but if it's the case, you can sacrifice more value, because if you buy 1,000 Hex today for $40 and the Hex price doubles to 8 cents, then you would be able to sacrifice not only the $40, you would already be able to sacrifice a value of $80.
Yeah, that's correct. And if you for some reason think that, if you think differently, you don't think Hex is going to do that well for some bizarre reason, then you could just sacrifice any other coin, right? And I think actually, if you are going to sacrifice where you're donating to the Sens Foundation charity, don't sacrifice Hex, because they have to, by law, they have to sell it. They have to sell it down.
I know. Yeah. No, but by law they have to sell it down. But even by law, they can only get cryptocurrencies which are listed on Coinbase or something like that. And so for the addresses to sacrifice with the Sens Foundation, which may be even possible to do it with cash, because Richard said something yesterday in his stream. For this, it would only be possible to use a different coin like Ethereum. And I already thought about it, like what I will do with my portfolio. And of course, I have prepared the Hex to sacrifice. And I still own some ETH as well. And with a small portion, I will donate a bit of ETH to get like less pulls out of that.
Yeah. It sounds like a solid plan. Yeah, but I think if you're not going to donate and you just want 100% of the value that you're going to sacrifice, I would think it'd be much smarter. Galaxy brain move, although it's not really a galaxy brain move. It's like common sense. Like literally convert to Hex first, pump your own bags, and then sacrifice with that. Like that's just a smarter play.
Exactly. Yeah, and like if you are worried about Hex going down till the start. You can even keep your money in US dollars, and what you can do, like right before you sacrifice, is getting into Hex right before you sacrifice, because then you won't have any value loss, because you do it like instant. You go into Hex and then you sacrifice them.
Yeah, that the only downside to that play is that if Hex does a 10x on you when you don't expect it, you think somehow that Hex is bearish, even though there's so many bullish elements that are ready to drive the price up to crazy heights that people can't even fathom. If you miss out on a 10x move, well, that sucks, because maybe you were planning on going in with, let's say, $100,000 into the sacrifice chamber, missed the 10x move because you kept the 100,000 in USDC, and now instead of 100,000 being sacrificed, or I guess you missed the opportunity of sacrificing $1 million, for example, if the price did a 10x. So I caution you. I strongly caution you. Be aware that Hex is in a very it's from a technical vantage point, it's poised to do a massive expansion wave. So you might actually find yourself getting left behind.
So much FOMO here.
Hey, this is not even just FOMO though. These are just facts.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Yeah, but I'm still have the calculation of Richard in my mind, and that would put Hex to 56 cent next year, July.
Yeah, but you have to think, like, so everyone gets hung up on, oh, Hex will do a 10,000x, right? Like that's just like good marketing, right? Like that's just Richard saying, like, hey, like it has the possibility to do a 10,000x, and guess what? It already did 1,000x and only needs to do 10x more. But that is in no way does that imply that that's a ceiling, right? So Hex could do a 10,000.
No. It's not a ceiling, yeah.
No.
But you know the time frame. Yeah, for me the time frame is kind of a ceiling. That's why I said in the beginning of the year that I think Hex will do between 5 and 20 cents in this year.
Yeah, it's true. But also Hex is outperforming every single predecessor. I can't say it right now. It's outperforming all other cryptos to date. Like it is literally slaughtering them. You could pull up the inception of any other crypto. It is the fastest and highest appreciating asset in crypto history. Like no other crypto has beat its performance. It is growing rapidly. I'm talking about from the inception. From the inception, which token went up 1,000x in 1.5 years? Nothing to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge, but you know, you say it from the inception. So let's leave it like this, because if you say from the inception, you say like from day one, no. And if you measure from day one, we are up 1,200x.
Yeah, exactly. And think about Bitcoin didn't even have a market for the first 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
And in Bitcoin, when it did have a market, what did it do in 2010? In 2010, in a low liquidity environment, before any adoption of any kind, when nobody knew anything about crypto except some small elite few, some cyberpunks or whatever.
Cyberpunks, yeah.
What did it do? It literally went from sub-penny levels to $29.60 in 1 year. 1 year.
Yes, exactly.
So I mean,
actually, does this not beat the Hex performance?
No, because that happened in 2010, and Bitcoin was created in 2008. So we're talking about from the inception. It didn't even have a market for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
So Hex went up 1,000x from inception. There is no like, oh, let's not do anything for 2 years. It's like, no, let's go up 1,000x in 1.5 years.
I agree on that. Yeah.
So yeah.
Not from inception though. So from day 33.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. That okay. I mean,
I mean, you know, you were there back then, and it was a
Yeah,
pretty hard dip if you experienced it. You know,
that is
um,
true. That is correct. I did
and
experience
it
that dip.
was.
Yes, you are correct. From day 33, it went up 1,000x from all
Yeah.
time low to all time high.
I have another interesting question here in the chat in German, but I will translate it for you. Do you think that Hex will be on a normal crypto exchange like Binance or Coinbase in the future?
Um, I think it might. I mean, obviously, it's been gate kept this whole time. Possibly, it gets listed on Coinbase, but I'm honestly very happy and very content without Hex being on any major centralized exchange. You know, you don't have to worry about wash trading. You don't have to worry about them fudging the numbers. Like literally, everything you see on Uniswap is like legit, right? It's just basic math, right? And there's you know exactly how much economic energy it takes to push the price up or to push the price down. The only real advantage I think for a Coinbase listing that I like is that it's just very easy to onboard new people. You could be like, hey, go on to Coinbase, buy some Hex with your debit card, and then transfer to your own MetaMask wallet. And I like the simplicity of that. I think that's very important. So I think eventually it will be good. But even if we're just gate kept for longer, I think it's in the end it's better. You know, maybe exchanges want to start listing Hex when Hex is $1 or $10, or are they going to just start doing it when Hex is $25 or $50? You know what I mean? We don't need to wait around for exchanges. We can still have awesome price performance without them.
Yeah, sure. So I definitely agree. So I was never like upset or something like that that I can't trade Hex on any centralized exchange. I got into this decentralized world because of Hex, and I love to be in it. You know, I don't need anything else besides Uniswap and a network where I can swap easily between interest-bearing cryptos, uh, other blockchain cryptos, and stablecoins. You know.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I just needed to write in the chat that the people should switch to English again because
Yeah.
it looks like a German stream if you look in the chat.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I cannot speak or
funny.
read German.
Yeah, how is your German actually?
I don't know much. Guten Morgen and Scheiße.
Okay. let's stay with let's stay with English. So guys, if you want to ask Günter anything else, please go ahead and write your question right now in the chat. I have one question of maximal supply of Hex, so I going to answer that. There won't be a maximum supply of Hex because Hex, like Ethereum, is also an inflationary coin without a fixed total cap or something like that. Yeah, it's has its base, and on this base, the code is inflating 3.69% per year at max.
And just to add to that, I mean, currently we're sitting at 633 billion total Hex that's ever been minted, where 571.6 billion is liquid, and the other amount is staked. I mean, Hex essentially introduced all of its supply in year one, and literally the only thing that's left is inflation, which shows up to stakers in the form of interest.
Exactly, which is like delayed inflation.
Yeah, it's delayed because the inflation is tied to individual stakes. So like you're only minting your tokens with interest for a 10-year stake after 10 years have matured, and you end your stake, you've completed your commitment, and now you can mint your principal tokens plus interest. Well, the interest is the inflation plus any penalties that are like tied to that. So
yeah, exactly. So Hex community is really great. Thanks for that, Enron. and not fixed maximum supply, but fixed inflation. That's true as well. If you want to get a bigger knowledge of how the interest system of Hex is working and how you can go along with the system and what it means for you, you can search in this channel. Just click on videos and scroll down a bit. There is one video called The Power of T-Shares, where we made a list of assumptions and calculated the possible outcome of certain stakes in the future. So you might be interested in that as well. And Sebastian is asking, like, what was the price of Hex day 1 and day 33? I will get into the story a bit. So on day 1, we only had one chart. We only had one centralized exchange, and there people were buying and selling Hex from, actually from day 2, because on day 1 they were only able to move ETH in the adoption amplifier, and from day 2, like when this was separated to everybody, the trading started, and someone literally put it 1 Bitcoin, or I guess 2 Bitcoin, I guess it was 2 Bitcoin of market order on a really, really small exchange on a coin which is only the first day, which still had a really, really illiquid order book. So like not really buys and sell orders in this order book. And someone came along and just made like 2 Bitcoin market buy and pushed the price up. I don't remember exactly, I guess to something like 10,000 Satoshi or something like that. You can't even see it in the charts because the Uniswap version 1 chart only starts, I guess, from 18 or 20th of December. Because in the first 2 weeks there was only this adoption amplifier possible and one centralized exchange. And after that we moved to the version 1 of Uniswap, and that's why this first dip, like between day 1 and day 33, is definitely over, or was like over 90% if you calculate this wick up on the first day.
Yeah, and then day 33, the all-time low was 0.0000. That's 4 zeros, 56.55. So back then, you could have bought 1 million Hex tokens for $56.55.
Yes.
And now, if you want that same million tokens, I don't know what the price is right now. You can check real quick. Probably getting wrecked.
Something like 4 cents or something. Are we still rich?
Let's see. Yeah. Who knows? Let's see. So now if you wanted that same million tokens, it's going to cost you like about $42,238 for 1 million tokens. Nice.
A lot of dollars, no? A lot of price increase. Huge price increase.
Yeah, nice price increase from $56 for 1 million tokens. It's only getting expensive, by the way. If you're selling 1 million tokens right now or more, you really have no idea what you have. You're making a very huge mistake if that's all that you have. If you have no stakes and you only have a liquid 1 million tokens, or even if you have 2 million or 5 million or 10 million or whatever, you don't realize what you have, because at $1, right, that 1 million tokens is worth $1 million. And if you sell now and try to go buy back in, you'll never be able to buy 1 million tokens unless you have $1 million sitting around. You will just never be able to regain your position. So you'll be stopped out of the market permanently.
Yeah, very true. I mean, our crypto Sparbook strategy also says never sell your principal. So, like, I mean, there is one exception. If you, I have like 2 strategies, easy strategies. The first is just dollar cost average in, just get your Hex back, and then make a 5, a 10, and a 15-year stake. And after 5 years, you take the principal for 15 years and have the interest for sell, or keep it liquid or whatever you want to do with it, but never lose your principle, have a dynamic system. And the second strategy is where you only start at the 10-year mark to max out your bonuses, but therefore you only stake 80% of your total hex amount and keep 20% in a short-term stake, like monthly stake. Once we are at Pulse Chain or right now on the East Chain, just keep that liquid.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they don't really realize how important the T shares are. They literally are equivalent to autonomous machines that print interest.
Money machines.
They're just
money machines.
They're just money machines that print interest over the life of a stake. So think about it. If you're earning right now, let's just say some arbitrary amount. If you're earning, $1,000 per month in interest from T shares, right? Imagine when the price does a 10x. Now you're earning $10,000 a month in interest from those T shares. And then imagine when the price does another 10x. Now you're earning $100,000 per month in interest.
The stream gets heart attack character again.
Yes, we cannot be held liable if you have a heart attack or a stroke.
It's like
due to the magnitude of these numbers.
Mello back here will bring on the disclaimer for the stream.
Yeah, you better initiate.
Yeah, cool. Günter, anything you want to ask me?
I guess your not to get like personal or anything, but like your what would be your advice for someone that's setting up stakes? Let's say they want to use Hex as like a passive income system, for example, and somebody's completely new to Hex. What would your advice be? Like, how would they build like a nice laddered CD? Let's assume it's built on Pulse Chain with low gas fees. What would you recommend in terms of like how they build that laddered CD?
How much Hex does he has?
Let's just say 1 million tokens. Let's say they go in and they go in with like $50,000 or whatever, 42,000.
Yeah, let's say 1 million Hex tokens, no matter the price. Okay. So 2 strategies. The first one would be just to make the yearly ladder and go ahead by the years. Like after 1 year, you take the principal and spread it out for 15 years again, and so you can accumulate interest. And the second strategy would be, again, to start at the 10-year mark, because you max out your bonuses and you keep 200,000 Hex in a short-term stake. So the 200,000 Hex in the short term will already give you some interest, over the months and years, and your stakes are staked out for at least 10 years to max out all the bonuses to get the most interest possible out of the system.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. So the second strategy would be like the dream account strategy, where you also have a liquid amount which you can stake short term. Because as you said, guys, you can make your own calculation of that. Just go and go.hex.com, put in 200,000 Hex, put in 30 days, and look how much T shares this would give you. And then you take those T shares, times it by 5.8 daily T share payout per T share per day, and then times that by 30, because you staked 30 days, and then roughly like with how much Hex plus minus a few percent you will end up after this month, and then just times it with the current price. And if you say what was, I'm not sure, but I guess I haven't done this calculation with 200,000 Hex. I guess with 300,000 Hex it would already give you about $30 or $40 per month, and on the Pulse chain that's already a good deal, And if the Hex price goes from 4 to 40 cents, which is just a blink of an eye, according to Günter, because we might reach $1,000, as he said today. Oof, still, like, my heart is $1,000 per hex. And and just assuming it a 10x, you would already earn like $300-400 per month only with your smaller liquid bag. And then imagine what may come with your dream account.
Yeah, solid point. What's beautiful about Hex is you got two things working for you simultaneously while you're sleeping. One, you're generating interest, which is just every day. It's just no work is required. It's literally generating more tokens for you. And if you have really long stakes, you're able to capture high USD price appreciation over time, which anyone that's been in crypto and has been successful in crypto knows. You buy something in its early days and hold it for a very long time, well, then you can become stupidly wealthy from crypto. So Hex is like a perfect solution for meeting those two criteria simultaneously.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. Yeah. What is here? Okay. Yeah. So Mello already put like our our disclaimer in the chat.
Oh, okay.
That nobody dies of heart attack and then tries to sue like CryptoSpar book because we assumed a too high hex price or something.
Yeah, I mean we are trying to be careful, right? Like this video is not like, it's not intended to get you to do anything like to either buy or sell Hex, but it is giving you a lot of information. And if you carefully consider what we're saying, you could find that Hex could actually solve many financial problems in your life, not just Hex, but also Pulse Chain. Those two combined could actually be a game changer for your personal life and give you some opportunities that you would have never had otherwise. So there's a lot of wisdom.
I will just give you a perspective, like what I'm thinking about in regards to this. Imagine a world where we have the Pulse chain, where you sacrificed some coins, and now you have the P-Hex on the Pulse chain, and you have the Pulse as well, and there are opening up more windows. So you have your staked P-Hex portfolio, fine with that. But what you can also do is like participate in liquidity farming on the Pulse chain. What you can also do is like stake your Pulse to a validator to get a fee reward back. So there are plenty of plays to do in the future with the Pulse chain.
Yep, 100%.
And I will, you know what, like a funny thing, because you said $1,000 today. When we had Wales only here on the stream, we also asked him like his prediction for Hex, and he said like $10. And Alan Abbott responded to him, man, I don't think that we reach $10 this year, because my line is $7 and I would sell at $7, so we can't reach $10 this year.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know people get hung up with like the high numbers, right? But when you understand, if you take the time and you go through like the spreadsheet that I've created and you understand what's actually out there, you know, that you're only talking about, you know, a maximum of 27 billion liquid tokens, and you really only need to be concerned with maybe 21% of that amount.
Yeah, but still, you know, 21% of 26 billion would be, oh shit, mass on stream would be 5.2 billion, and 5.2 billion at Hex on $1 is still a lot of liability, no?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about like 200 and like at current price, let's see.
Yeah, at current price, it's like
5.7 billion. It's around $236 million, roughly.
Yeah,
roughly. Yeah. But you know, in crypto, that's really not a lot of money. $236 million. That's not a lot.
No, like if you compare it to the stock market, to the money market, it's a joke.
Or to any other cryptos, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I think also too, as the price, just think, you know, the price does like a 3x from here. That already puts us, I think, does that put us at number 2 spot or number 3 spot on Nomics, or?
I guess number 3, because 2 and 1 with Bitcoin and Ethereum are pretty far away, like in terms of steps to get them.
Yeah, I think about, let's see.
Because, you know, like 3x the market cap will still be under 100 billion, and
Okay, yeah.
with Ethereum.
Yeah, it's gonna, yeah. So like, let's say we do like a 10x on the price.
Yeah, then
we're looking at like a number 3 position, somewhere
like
around
a
there.
10x. No, a 10x would be, yeah, a 10x would be number 3 position. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, around 247 billion, and Ethereum is around 312 billion. Yeah, we would be like number 3 position. So I mean,
actually, what do you think about the Hex ETH chart? Because I think it will continue to go up.
Oh yeah, I've been predicting this for months in the Hex trading channel. Like the Hex ETH pair, everyone's always like, "Well, what about the Hex ETH pair?" You know, it's like, no, like, dude, open up the chart. It's literally at the bottom. It's formed a solid bottom on the Hex ETH chart for months.
Yeah, it made a double dip. It went like where it went down on the big payday. It came once again, and from there it's pretty. It's only going up, actually. Yeah.
Honestly, it would take 2 seconds to pull it up.
Yeah, if you want to.
Let's take a peek at the Hex ETH chart for all the people. Well, what about my ETH?
I still need to get a T-shirt saying like, "Where does my ETH go?"
Yeah.
Actually, are you going to Vegas? I haven't asked that.
No, I won't be able to make that at this time, unfortunately.
Sad. So we need to drink a beer some other day.
Yeah,
on the second live conference.
Yeah, maybe virtually.
Maybe virtually. Yeah, let's see. But actually, I guess that the world will open up more and more, it seems.
Let's see here. Here we go.
Here we go. Yes. So let's bring it up.
Yeah. So this is.
You are on the weekly, I guess. No. Yeah.
Yeah. This is weekly. Weekly Hex ETH. So
you really did measure that? You really did measure that? I don't like those kind of charts. It's the same chart pattern they said like back in April, where they just took like the US dollar appreciation from March to beginning of May, which was like nearly 5,000%, and then they just put it on today, and and from there on the Hex price will also do 5,000%.
Oh, I think it'll actually do more. That's where I see this going.
Oh my god.
Oh, actually, no, it's the same. It is actually the same magnitude, right? So if it has the same magnitude, this is the price of Hex ETH.
I know what you mean. I know.
But
what
like
you mean.
even if it doesn't, it's still going to form a new all-time high in the Hex ETH pair. And this is, you know, I mean, look at this. This is a solid bottom right here. This is solid.
And you see that, like, because you see the big payday dip one bit
like
before.
Right here.
Yeah, this one exactly. And then you see like exactly towards this line again, those smaller red candles, and from there we touched like the 10,000 way and then moved back a bit, and then we broke through it.
Yeah, and if you think about this too, just like basic TA, right? You got like an A, B, C, and then the price goes up. And then same thing here, right? A, B, C, and price starts to go up, right? And obviously it doesn't go straight up. So I mean, it's already on its way up. This is massively bullish. Like if you want to increase your stack of ETH and you want to use Hex to do it that way, well, you might want to buy like this area, because you're already missing so you missed maybe like the absolute bottom, but you're still capturing maybe like a relative bottom.
Yeah, sure. As we said before, so there is not that much sell pressure in Hex. The most of the people in Hex want to have their copy on the Pulse chain. They want to buy more Hex that they will be able to sacrifice. And yeah, because of that, we have this nice price chart here, right?
Yeah, and also too, if you look at the Hex USDC pair, let me get the other version.
Yeah, the version 1.
Version 1.
Yeah, here we go.
So look at version 1. So here it has its first expansion wave. And if you ignore all the volatility, you have essentially 12 months of price consolidation up until it gets to this point. 10 to 12 months of price consolidation.
Yeah, price consolidation. I don't like this term for that. I was there every day. I don't like to say it was price consolidation.
Okay, so I mean, yeah. But I mean, sure, there's some volatility
because there are two nearly 70% dips and one 86% dip in this 12 months of consolidation. So
yeah,
I need to disagree on that, Günter.
No, okay. So if you ignore volatility, look at this. It meets resistance here, retests resistance, has a failed breakout, breaks it, confirms it as support. Right? That's the same fucking price 12 months later.
Yeah.
So ignore everything, ignore all the volatility in between, and consider that the second expansion wave starts from this point and goes up. Right. So we're talking. That's why I don't think it's,
Wow.
like
I would like to see that. I really would like to see that. Yeah.
Like I don't know what's going to happen in the sacrifice phase. I don't know what's going to happen by the end of the year. I just
have like $29.6 is your second blue line up there.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, look what let me pull up another chart. Let's leave this for a second. We've gotten into charts now.
Yeah, sure. Bring up whatever you want to. I guess I know every Hex chart out there. Maybe not every. So I guess maybe whales only have like one or two private charts.
Can you see this chart? This trading view chart, or do I have to reshare the screen?
You have to reshare the screen.
Okay. Give me a second. Let me stop.
Yep. Just reading chat here, everything. Oh, looks good. Looks good. No new questions. So guys, if you have any questions, then please put them in the chat here. And we have the screen share here as well. So what do you have here to share?
Okay, so this I did take note of the date when I published this, March 14th. But I had this in my head like at the beginning of the year, like January, February. I was already thinking about this. This is actually based on what Bitcoin did in 2010, right? So literally, Bitcoin literally went from like sub-penny levels and went up to 8.5 cents, and then it corrected to about 5 cents, and then went on a bull run to about 39 cents. Had a pullback to 19, and then from 19 it went to $1.09. And then you would think there'd be a major correction at $1.09, but it actually only retraced to 68 cents. And then from 68 cents, it was just stupidly bullish. Literally went straight to 29.60. And this all happened.
Yeah, but wasn't it just because of one bullish article, what I remember? There was like one major article, and that's why a lot of smart money moved into Bitcoin back then.
Honestly, I don't know. I just looked at the numbers. I don't know the history behind it.
Yeah, I just have like Richard in my head saying something like that in one of the live streams of 2019. So
yeah. So if you notice, like I published this when the price was basically at this low, this 0.006, right? March 14th. You click play. Interesting, no? Like it's doing all right. Like so it hasn't gone to that 8.5 cents yet, right? But it's already at that first. It's already tested that first.
You have the monthly chart here. Okay.
This is a weekly chart.
No, it needs to be the monthly chart.
This?
Yeah, of course.
No, this is a weekly chart.
But it's like May. Okay. Okay. You made it this year. I was still thinking about like March last year. Sorry.
No,
for that.
because there was no price data for TradingView. So I literally created this March 14th of this year. But like I had the idea in my mind, like around January or February, because I was researching. Like I wanted to see like how did Bitcoin perform and like would it be possible? Is it possible that Hex could maybe reach some of the same like price targets within like a similar time frame due to its low liquidity and the shortage of supply? Well, it's doing okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see it on that level, yeah, but I always be cautious, like putting future statements on logarithmic charts.
Well,
I don't like that so much.
I mean, this is pure conjecture. It's pure speculation. It's an interesting experiment. It could be right. It could be 100% false, right? Obviously, if you're going to buy or sell or do any type of investment, like you need to make your own decisions. I'm just
because I do agree. I do agree that Hex will come to this point. Yeah, I just disagree on the time frame. That's all. Yeah, but I definitely do agree that Hex will come to this point in the future. But I don't think that it's possible in this short period of time, especially if we are entering a bear market right now, because there was so much general FUD on the market that there might be too much noise that they hear Hex,
Yeah, it's hard to say how this will play out, right? Because obviously with any charts, it's just speculative ideas. Sure. This one was considering like, okay, during the sacrifice phase, what are some possibilities that we should consider? Maybe the price can reach out to $1, right? This white trajectory is kind of like the same concept, except it doesn't go to like 29.60, right? It does like $1, some type of like, maybe it gets close to like this area around $1 here.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of possibilities here. But some of the other ones have been relatively, there's one other one that was relatively accurate. This one, March 10th, before any action or activity has taken place. Bam.
Cool.
It's not a bad one.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Not a bad projection.
That's
got really close here, didn't quite make it. I think we got to, what did we get to?
Nearly 7.
6.7 cents, and I was saying 8.58.
Yeah.
But we still have a green Heikin-Ashi candle on the weekly chart, so we have not actually changed trend. I don't use regular candles, only Heikin-Ashi. I'm only interested in changes in trend, like clear changes in trend. So that's why I only use those candles. So yeah.
So what else? Hextoshi is asking where has Günter been all my life?
Well, I've been there, you just never knew it.
Yeah, so thanks for some new people joining in the stream. But actually, after the 2 hours right now, or nearly 2 hours, I am out of questions, Günter. Do you have more? Would you like to discuss?
I mean, obviously we could go on and on, but it's probably a good stopping point, so we don't wear out our listeners.
So do you have like a final minute of the last of a last heart attack session or something like that? Like one last FOMO minute for you.
Okay, here's my Moon Boy prediction.
Your Moon Talk.
Oh yeah, my
Moon Talk by Günter. Let's start.
Moon Boy pants on for sacrifice phase, $1 to $3. $1 to $3.
Oof, that's a lot. But if that happens, and if like day 15 is like 80 cents and day 30 is like $3, I should dollar cost average in every day.
That's a good point. But then you also have the mechanics, though. You also have the mechanics of what's being engineered into the sacrifice phase, where the price does ratchet up on you, and you get bonuses for entering early. Like we don't want to, like, they're still working out the details, so I don't want to go into any details, right? I would rather just wait till we have an official like news on that. But it's being engineered and designed where the price will ratchet up on you. So you do have to consider not only USD price appreciation for your hex, but for every $1 million that comes in, price is going to ratchet up.
That won't be the case. There is volume involved, but not with every million USD which comes in, because that way somebody could play the system and just go in with his 100 million US dollars 1 second before the next whale. And the next whale would be diluted as fuck, and that's why we have something with volume, but this volume will be adjusted over the whole time frame, and not like with every volume you get a worse deal. With every million you get a worse deal.
I guess we could reword it and say it differently. If you go into the sacrifice chamber with fat stacks, if you're sacrificing millions and millions of dollars, you will be rewarded with bonuses in this system.
Exactly. Yeah, you will get a volume bonus in the end as well. Yeah.
Well, we won't discuss. But anyway, there are different mechanisms being engineered where it will ratchet the price up on you. So you do need to consider the effects of those. But so like you can't really go wrong if you go in day one and you sacrifice. Hey, it's still a solid play. You're still early.
So in my point of view, the guys or the people will go wrong if they do something right after the start. So just give it a time, just wait a bit, just like maybe stake it or put it in a pool, the pools you got to just earn something in the meanwhile, but just give it time. Don't get overwhelmed by the market. When Hex came out, you had a first dip. You might have a first dip here as well. You might not have a first dip here. So just give it a bit of time, wait it out a bit, and always be liquid is like my statement for that.
Yeah. Also, somebody's making one comment in the chat. Some of those charts on TradingView, feel free to like tweet them and reshare them on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, but like feel free, because any type of dissemination of information is good. You'll just end up pumping our bag. So by all means.
Sure. I had some audio issues right now. The last sentence I didn't hear.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, like, feel free to like share some of like the charts that were on TradingView on Twitter or whatever.
Sure. Why not? Sure. Because they're pretty accurate charts, some of those.
Yeah, some of them, and other ones are just super speculative. We don't know. Either the future will prove or disprove them. And if you think about I guess maybe a final comment, if you consider the set of all possibilities for where the price can go for Hex, it's actually an infinite set. It's an infinite set. And within that infinite set, consider any price target as an element within that set. So you could conjecture about any price within that infinite set and be like, hey, we think the price could maybe go here in a certain amount of time. But you just have to realize that these are just possibilities out of an infinite set of possibilities of anything that could happen with the price. But you should never imagine in your mind that there's some type of price ceiling for Hex. It's not. It's a false way of thinking. It's flawed logic. There is no price ceiling. There's only psychological ceilings and psychological barriers that exist in people's minds. But when the price goes and does crazy, it has crazy performance, then instantly it shatters those psychological barriers, right? And you'll see it play out in real time in the future as we get going with Hex.
Yeah, I have like one last story to share. When we made those nearly 5,000%, I had someone who was calling me and saying, I need to get out of this right now because this is not sustainable. This went up higher as I saw it. Well, so it can't be true. and yeah, left the hex system at 0.4 pennies.
Oh, got
So
wrecked.
not at 4 pennies, like it's 0.4.
So 0.004. So
It was like
1/10 of
0.004. Yeah, like
1/10 of 4 cents. So he got wrecked. He got royally wrecked. He missed the 20x move, basically.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
like, so don't think that crypto can only go to a certain amount of price. It can go higher as you would expect it, but on the other hand, it also can go lower as you would expect it. And
Yeah,
in Hex, we are used to dips. We had plenty of 70% dips already in our 1.5-year history. And the Hex community, is a community of strong hands, and they are used to those dips. And usually before one of those dips, we made new all-time highs. And so it was a huge possibility for new people getting in at a nice price in the dip after they maybe paid more because they got in during the price rise.
Yep. And I mean, think about Bitcoin, right? Like, what did Bitcoin do? Sub 1 penny levels. And in this year, it went to almost $65,000 per Bitcoin. Oh, is that rational? Is that logical? Is that a realistic number? Is that moon boy pants on? Or is that actual reality? Are those facts? Because people are always like, oh, moon boy. These numbers are impossible. They're impossible. It's basic mathematics. It's not impossible. It's just if you buy something and it's a store of value and there's demand for that completed product and it has insanely high interest and it's already done 1,000x in 1.5 years, it's only logical to conclude that it'll probably do pretty well over the long term, right? Like obviously there's always like, things can fail, right? We're not saying that it's impossible for something to fail, but we're just talking about probability. Like it's probably going to do pretty good. You're probably going to be okay. You could probably sleep really well at night, having a bag of Hex that's mostly staked, and then you have a little bit liquid.
Yeah, and especially like with those dips, because Hex also is like down, like from the top to the low, over 40% minus, so less than Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is awesome for a lower liquidity coin actually. And everybody's chilled. I was like in my crypto Sparbuch chat, like in the German chat, everybody is chilled. Nobody was like freaking out. What should I do? Like long, short, or something like that. And everybody is staked. Everybody is chilled. Everybody knows, like, if you want to have flexibility in your staking portfolio, just get some liquid Hex as well. And yeah, they like it how it is. And we are only back to the price which we first reached 10 days ago. So that said, there is still a lot to come in Hex. There is a huge possibility right now if you are thinking about getting Hex and getting pools as well. And yes, that's it. Thank you, Günter, for everything. I hope you guys out there saw a clearer picture about the whole network of Hex, and I hope you got some questions answered regards to the Pulse chain launch and like how the Hex system works and so on. And that's it. I wish everybody out there have a nice week. Don't get wrecked on the crypto market. Go from the trading side to the staking side. Come to us, And that's it. Anything else you want to share, Günter? Any social medias? Anything where we should click on or like on or something like that?
No, I mean, like honestly, if you like and share the Trading View post, I think that's good. Not for ego, but just for marketing purposes for Hex. If you like some of those charts, like feel free. If you don't mind, hit the like button. Share those on Twitter. I appreciate that. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not really on social media. You can reach out to me and find me in the Hex like Telegram chats. Mostly hang out in Hex Trading or Hex Bear just for fun. Just to talk shit to all the bears, pretty much.
Yeah, I had this like within months. I tried to convince them. Like during the whole summer, when we first dipped at 0.3 of a penny, I was like, yeah, this is the line, And it was it was dropping under 0.3 like 1 month later, and as soon as it dropped, there was you remember good texture, like the smart guy who still got wrecked in Hex, and he was like, yeah, and now Patrick, what's now? Now we are under 0.3 of a penny. 1 week later, we doubled the price.
Yeah, I watched his video, and I mean, he had like this ominous warning, which I think he's removed since then, because he realizes like how foolish it was to post a video like that, because Hex literally.
You mean like, and billions and billions and billions of Hex will crush the market and so on?
Yeah. Meanwhile,
it was hilarious.
Meanwhile, these billions and billions of Hex have never moved from dormant addresses. They literally just sit liquid, and there's nothing that's happening. They're just collecting dust. Not even
for everybody out there, this guy who told you that right now knows what he's talking about, because he really sit hours and hours and days and weeks in front of the computer, just going through the blockchain, just verifying everything in regards to the Hex network on the Ethereum blockchain.
Too much time. Don't waste time.
Don't try it at home. Don't try it at home, kids.
You can try it, but like. It's a rabbit hole. Be careful what you get into. All right, man. I guess we better wrap it up, though.
Exactly. Yeah. So thanks, Günter, for coming on again. And again, for everybody out there, please leave a like if you liked our conversation here. It helps your Hex spec. It also helps us with the YouTube algorithm a bit. And that's it. We will be online next Monday, at first in German, then in English, as usual. And yeah, have a great week. Goodbye.
Yeah, see you guys later. Bye now.